So summer vacation is almost over. From now, what can you do to your sleep so you can start your school year with high energy and high productivity? So today, my colleague Dr. Schneeberg from Yale University will share with us some tips about transitioning back to school year.
You really want to start thinking about what's that rise time that you're going to need at the end of August. And then, of course, start to work your way back to that. And I think the easiest way is to focus on the rise time, because you can't really make a child go to sleep at a certain time, but you can help them wake up at a certain time. And you can begin moving it back by about 15 minutes every few days, 15 minutes, until you arrive at that school day rise time that they're going to need at the end of August.
Some parents think, well, waking up children or teenagers in the morning, it's not that easy. What do parents normally do? Anything effective?
Sure, and they are right about that. It is very hard. So there are a few things that set, your brain clock, your circadian clock. And the three most important ones are activity, some physical activity. It can be really mild activity. It can be stretching or a little walk to the mailbox and back or walking the dog. And then sunlight exposure, so getting outside, pretty close to the rise time. And then having a meal, even if it's small, for a teenager, even if it's a protein shake or something really simple, a little cup of yogurt, anything. Because we know that all our organs have clocks, right? We know that now. And your stomach has a clock, and when something shows up, right, it realizes, oh, it must be morning. It tells your brain that it's morning. And so as you're moving that rise time back, it's really smart for any age, but especially teenagers, to have that activity, that sunlight exposure, and that food. Well, and for teenagers, there's one more thing. If there's some sort of payoff for getting up, right? Like their friend comes over to play basketball, or their friend comes over to go out to, have breakfast or something. So I also add rewards. So activity, sunlight, food, and some kind of reward is awfully nice to get them up.
If parents already worked for the morning time, does that mean they don't have to care about the bedtime at all?
Yeah, so another great point. So I think you should work it from both ends, right? So you're going to work on the rise time in the way we talked about. And then as you move the rise time, the bedtime starts to move, but it follows the rise time, just as you said. The rise time is the anchor of the day. And as your brain realizes, oh, I'm getting up at 8:30 now instead of 8:45, then your bedtime will slide as well, right? But there are ways to make that bedtime go more smoothly. Because if you are going to put your child in bed 15 minutes earlier, let's say, knowing that at the beginning they're not going to fall asleep right away, then I'm a big believer in what I call the bedtime basket, which means that next to the child's bed, you put a little basket of activities, picture books, little toys, drawing pads, those fun little drawing pads where you draw and you push a button and they erase automatically, coloring books. And so you might go ahead and finish your routine, tuck them in, say goodnight, and then they might say, I'm not tired, Mom, or it's still light out, Dad. And you can say, I know, but you can use your basket to relax with in your bed with your reading light until you're drowsy. And then at least they have the opportunity for sleep, right? And if they're drowsy and the routine's over, they might just drop off, or they might do what a lot of adults do. They might relax in their bed for a few minutes with a book or something until they truly are drowsy enough to go to sleep. Exactly, because if a child's bored in bed, you're going to see them again, right? They're going to show up in the living room, or they're going to call you for the variety of excuses, right? Could you look under my bed? Could you open the closet door? I would like ice for my water. I forgot to hug the dog, or whatever it is, right? You're going to hear from them and see them again. I always call those extra requests, I call them callbacks and curtain calls, right? So they're either calling you back or they're showing up in the living room to make a curtain call. And the basket really helps with that.
Wow. Yeah, totally. I have clients who are moms talk about their kids always have all kinds of reasons. Oh, Mom, my hand hurts. Can you kiss it a little bit? Oh, Mom, I want water a little bit. Can you give me another story? Sounds exactly
so true. They're very, very creative. There's one other trick for that, and that's called the bedtime ticket idea, right? So you make 2 little tickets out of anything. They could be index cards, Post-it notes, they could be poker chips, they could be anything. And when the routine's over and you're tucking them in with their basket, you give them 2 little chips or 2 little tickets. And then when they call you back, and say, my left foot itches, you say, okay, I can help you with that, but that costs a ticket. Or I forgot to hug the dog, you can bring the dog in for a hug, but that costs a ticket. And after you spent your 2 tickets, you're out of tickets, and then you are meant to just use your basket until you're drowsy. So that's another really great way to set a little bit of gentle limits on those extra requests.
Oh, cool. I really like it. So the basket can combine with the ticket.
Yes.
That sounds like a structured way, right? So parents know what to do, what to follow, and kids have expectation.
Yeah, they know, right? And if you preceded all of that with a bedtime chart, that shows the 5 things you do before you get into the bed. So snack, bath, teeth, bathroom, we read 2 books together. Then you land in the bed, then you have your basket, you have your tickets. Kids know, oh wow, this is what they always do. They never change it. They start at the same time. They finish with the same step. And you really do get into a really nice groove when you have a really smooth running plan like that. And your child is much more likely to go ahead and give it up and fall asleep.
So will this basket and ticket method works for kids across all ages?
Really preschool and up, right? Because a preschool child could play with a couple of toys or, little figures or something. They could look at a picture book with a really soft light, just a really soft reading light. They could draw a little bit. And then as you get older, you're probably going to be reading more likely. Then I have a lot of high school kids I work with who don't really like to read, but they love to draw. So that basket can be really customized for age and preferences and personalities.
Wow. So it sounds like parents really need to be creative and know their kids well and decide what to put into the basket.
Yes. And you've led me to one more point. It shouldn't be the most interesting basket ever. But it shouldn't be boring either. I say to parents that I work with, adults with insomnia, I'll say, don't read the bestseller and don't read the phone book. Read something in the middle that's just interesting enough that you're not bored, but you're likely to give it up to go to sleep if you're drowsy.
I like that. Don't read the bestseller or the phone book. Yeah, I can imagine for teenagers, don't give them exciting video game right before bedtime.
Exactly. Sort of have to titrate it a little bit. Yeah.
Are you struggling with insomnia? Do you know there's one method out there? It's first-line treatment in many countries. It's very evidence-based and it's very effective. And it's called CBTI. So I have designed this 4-week-long CBTI course to help you recover from insomnia without relying on medication. I provide weekly Q&A sessions to help you tailor the treatment to your own needs and your own sleep pattern. Check it out at this website, mindbodygarden.com/insomnia.